All right, so we once again are talking about what it means to be statistically significant. And you can see here a sample is statistically significant if it's unlikely to get a sample like yours or more drastic. And you may ask, how unlikely is unlikely? I did some air quotes there. If the p-value is below our predetermined significance level, lo siento for the typo, um, then, and we call that alpha, we say our data is statistically significant. And you may sometimes pick an alpha of 0.05, you may pick an alpha of 0.01. And it really depends on how convinced you really want to be. Okay. If you're looking for evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to convict someone and throw them in jail, maybe a 1 in 20 chance of being wrong isn't good enough for you, and you want a 1 in 100 chance or 1 in 1,000 chance, right? You might want to get a better alpha depending on the implications of your conclusion, okay? But you determine it ahead of time so that you're not picking it willy-nilly after you've created your sample, okay? So we will be interpreting our results, and we really have two decisions that we might make. One is you reject the null. This is what happens if you get a very small p-value, okay? And when you reject the null, you conclude in favor of the alternative hypothesis. You say, so we reject the null that blah, blah, blah in favor of the alternative of blah, blah, blah because our p-value is very small. Okay. Alternatively, you could say, well, because we have a p-value that's bigger than our alpha, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. There is insufficient evidence for the alternative hypothesis. Okay. So we're talking about evidence. We're not accepting the null, right? You either reject the null or you fail to reject the null. And you don't prove anything either. We're not saying, therefore, it has been proven that the alternative is true. It's never proven that the null hypothesis is true. It's never proving, never prove anything, okay? You're just saying there's evidence, sufficient evidence to conclude or insufficient evidence, okay? And you should base your conclusion on a predetermined significance. If your p-value is less than alpha, then you reject the null hypothesis in favor of the alternative, right? Reject in favor of the alternative. If your p-value is greater than alpha, then you fail to reject the null hypothesis and you say there is insufficient evidence to conclude the alternative hypothesis. All right? So, good luck with that. Farewell.